This is how I got an South African ID, how I got married to a man who is involved in money rituals. I'm trying to get out, but what he has told me, it is really scary. Even though I stay in a nice place and sometimes he's not around, sometimes he's at home, but the life that I am living, it is really painful. So, and when you are going around, there is no one that will even suspect that this is the life that you are living. They'll just see you driving a nice car and they wish to be you. When they see you maybe shopping and your trolley is full of groceries, and at the till you pay a lot of money, thousands and thousands of rands, and they do not know that this is what you go through and this is what is on your mind at all the times. My husband has made it clear that once I get another man on top of me, as long as I am married to him, that will be the end of the story. That will be the end of my life. And I do not want to die, Brother Nashi. I still want to live and I'm still very young. He then told me that since I am no longer on my periods, I don't go on my periods like the way that I used to go on my periods like before. And because of that, he says that our marriage is at a risk because his charms do not allow him to be sleeping with a woman that is not having a normal but is having an abnormal menstrual cycle, which has left me with no option but to just wait for him to tell me, so what is the next step? That is what I asked him, and he said to me, because I love you, I can't just let you go as for now. Let us just stay. And he's waiting for his Togoloshi to give him the go ahead to break up with me or the go ahead to stay with me even more. So I'm sharing my story because I want other people out there, especially women, to understand that there is no reason as to why you should stick to a man who is a money ritualist, because even if you stick to someone that is a money ritualist, in the end you are going to regret your decision that you would have taken. It does not matter what kind of an upbringing that you had and what kind of poverty you had, but still, if you live with a ritualist, in the end, no matter how much they love you, they are still going to sacrifice you in one way or the other. Let me take you back to the time when I was still in Zim. I grew up with my parents and we were very poor. And it reached a point whereby my father, he was sick. My father was sick and there was nothing else that he could do in terms of taking care of his family. My father, he contracted this virus that is called TB, and he was really sick, coughing at all the times. Fortunate enough, when you contract such a disease, like, you can get free medication in our country because they are afraid that if they do not treat you, you can spread that disease to other people. So I then started to see my father, the way that he was sick, the way that we were suffering, and I asked myself what was going to happen if it happened that my dad passes away. My mother on her own, she was someone that was not working, and my dad was the one that had been working all along, and we were starving. By then, there were times when we would go to bed hungry, and with the way that my dad was sick, he would go to bed hungry without eating anything, and this used to break my heart. So I then decided that I was going to find a job, and I then got out of Zim and I came to SA. When I came to South Africa, honestly, I did not know what life was going to throw at me. I just said, let me take a chance. This might be an opportunity or I'm going to regret. But even if I regret, I would have tried. I then entered South Africa. I did not have a passport. So I then started to stay and work in the farms in Limpopo. As someone that had never worked like that in my life, even the very first day when I started to work in the farm, it was something else. I even thought about running away, even though I wanted to run away, brother, but the fact that I had left my dad and he was a sick man back in Zim, and everyone back home was depending on my success in South Africa. That is what pushed me to work hard, even though the way that we were working, it was just a lot. So I continued working on that farm. It then happened that there was this other girl that came and started working at that farm, and she became my friend. So she was Ndebele and she was from Bulawayo, and then we started to talk, me and him, and she told me that whenever she goes back to Zim and spend money in Zim, when she comes back she won't have any money to proceed to Joburg. So what she always do is that she stays for a little while on the farm, and then she works saving money maybe for about 3 months. Then after 3 months she moves from Limpopo to Joburg. Then she can find accommodation and she can continue working for the rest of the year, and then she returns back home. So this was like a never ending cycle. So me and him, we were close friends, and when she advised me to save money just in case if I wanted to go to Joburg with her, I started to save money. After about 3 months, that was when she came to me and she was like, Carol, I want to go to Joburg now. Are you sorted out financially? I think now I am okay financial wise. I can go there and I can get a room and I can start working. She told me that in Joburg opportunities could be found like everywhere. There were people that were looking for maids that wanted to do some piece jobs. So because she had convinced me like that, I then agreed that if I was going to lose that opportunity to come with her to Joburg, there was no one else that was going to take me out of the farm, because the money that we were getting paid at the farm, it was like nothing. It was just difficult. So we then agreed that me and her, we would move from Limpopo and come to Joburg. So we finally arrived in Joburg, and once we landed in Joburg, I saw how resourceful this girl was. The moment that we got off from the taxi, there were people that started to recognize him, and she knew a lot of people, and you could even think that she was a South African, even the way that she would dress up, always looking nice, and even the way that she spoke local languages, one would think that she is actually a South African. So she then said to me, I want you to look for a job as well, and you can start making money more than the way that we used to make when we were still in Limpopo. So life was good. I can say that life was okay. We were making money, and I discovered that once you have money, you start to have other needs. So before, when I used to suffer, I would think a lot about dating someone, but why would I want to date someone when I was broke? So what I will do is that I will just say no. As for now, I do not want to date anyone, because I was thinking about my father back home. But the moment that I was able to take care of my family back home in Zim, that was when I started to think more about dating other men as well. So me and him, we started to do hookups. She was someone that enjoyed dating a lot of men, and she got me into that game, and she dated a lot of South African guys, and I started dating other South African guys as well. Amongst my many boyfriends that I now had at that time, then this other guy called me one day. He then said to me, what are you doing right now? And I told him what I was up to. He then said that there was this other guy, an old man, who was looking for a maid who wanted to do some temporary work at his house to clean. And I said, yeah, you can give me his number. We then started to talk with the man who became my husband. As we were talking, he then said to me, okay, can I come and pick you up? He came, and then he picked me up, and then he took me to the place where he was staying before we started to stay at the gated community where we are currently staying together right now. So I started to feel jealousy. I don't know why, This man, he had a lot of money, Brother Nash. Like, he was rich and he's still rich. He used to do tenders. He was working in the government once, but then after that, he stopped working in the government and he was focusing on his tender businesses. So I started to feel so much jealous over him. Why I was feeling so much jealous, it was because this man, he would bring in girlfriends. Like, have you ever had such an encounter with a man that, like, you are into him, but you don't want to show him that you are that much into him? That is what was happening at that time. I was so much into him, but I did not want him to know that I had feelings for him. But then he would bring these women, plenty of women. When I was around, I would hear them together in the bedroom, and this would make me go crazy with jealousy, because I thought that eventually me and him, we were going to date. And I started to do some actions to seduce him, because I was like, how else is he going to know that you are into him, Carol, if you are not seducing him? You need to seduce him so that he knows that you are into him. So when I started to seduce him, and then he also told me that he was into me, he just wanted to be sure if I was that much into him. So Bronash, me and my husband, my then boyfriend, we were dating. And as we were dating, he then said, it is fine if there are days when you want to stay with me, you can come and you can stay with me, but what I want you to understand is that I will always be your boss. I will be your boss, and I want you to understand that, so that you can respect me. By then, we were not yet talking about marriage. It was just a matter of us just sleeping around with each other. So he was like, I want you to understand that I am your boss and respect me. And I was fine with that. I did not have any problem at all. So that was the arrangement that we had. But he promised me, and he said something nice to me. He said, I understand that back home you have these responsibilities, and from my side, I am going to make sure that I will do whatever that I can to take care of you. And if you want me to give you money, you just tell me in time that I want some money and I can give you money, and I'm going to give you a full month's salary, even though he was going to allow me to work wherever I wanted to go to work. He just said, do not cheat on me, do not bring any diseases in my life. So I was like, okay. So that was what was happening between the both of us. But there were things that were like red flags that I would see about this new boyfriend of mine. Like, he was someone that was very stingy with money. His relatives were nowhere to be found, and I was very eager to be a South African Makoti, expecting that I would go and visit my in-laws in KZN someday, and they will accept me, and I was going to get a South African ID. And the way that I finally got a South African ID, this was after he wanted me to have a car. So I already had a passport by then. I had returned back home to Zim and I got a passport, but I did not have a driver's license. When we came back one day, he then went with me to the traffic department. When we arrived at the traffic department, I was also in line, and then they told me that unfortunately with a passport you can't get a driver's license. There are procedures that you need to follow, because they can't enter the passport number alone into the system. They needed, like, for me to have some form of an ID in terms of a traffic reg. So I did not even understand what was that all about. They explained everything. You know, when people have money, they don't harass you. They explain to you nicely. Those guys at the traffic department, they knew my husband, how rich he was. So they explained everything, that no, this girlfriend of yours, since she is from Zim, she needs to have a worker's permit, or if you have a child together, then she can be able to have legal status in SA, something that we did not know. And when we started to date, me and my husband, you know, the red flags, they were like when he said to me, I want you to know that in the future, there is a possibility that you might lose a child here and there. So I did not understand what the hell he was talking about when he said that there is a possibility that in the future you might lose a child. So I said to him, yeah, it happens. You know, you can fall pregnant, you can give birth, and you can lose that child. But one cannot plan for that because it is the will of God. And he said, no, it is not the will of God. So I was like surprised, you know, a person telling me that he does not believe in God's will. It was something that was different, that I had never heard someone else saying that he does not believe that God have his will. It was going to happen that we were going to lose a child. I did not know that this was what was going to happen. I was going to lose so many pregnancies that now it is just too much. If there was no money involved, I'm sure that I would have left this man a very long time ago. But because of the money that is involved, I am still with him. So after we had been told that in order for me to acquire a driver's license, there were procedures that I was supposed to follow. And then we went and we got married. After we had gotten married, then he made me to sign a lot of papers. His lawyers explained some things to me, some things that I did not even understand what they meant, but I was just excited that I am going to get married. Very soon I will have an ID. So I was so excited about the way that me and him, we were in love with each other. It was just romance and nothing else. This was before he had told me about his rituals. Fast forward, I am now a married woman. And then he would go and he would leave me for days and days alone. In the house, I am all alone. I start to pray. I am praying to God that God can give me a child, because I was feeling lonely at all the times. Whenever I was alone, then I would feel really lonely, and I'll be like, God, right now I want you to give me a child. Please give me a child. And then I fell pregnant. When I fell pregnant for him, the excitement and the joy that I had in my heart, it was just too much. Words could not even explain it. And then I lost the pregnancy. After I had lost the pregnancy, that was when he explained everything to me, and he told me that he was a ritualist, and in the rituals that he was doing, he was not allowed to have a child. And a woman that would have impregnated, when the tokoloshi feels angry, the tokoloshi will just destroy whatever that was growing inside of the womb of the woman that he would have impregnated. I was shocked by this, but the warning signs, they were there. There were times when I felt bored about my South African husband. The way that our marriage was going, I did not like it at all. So I then decided, Brother Nashi, to run away from him and to return back to my country. Since I always have money, there was a time when there were millions in an account that he had put in my phone. So I said, I'm going to withdraw this money and run away from him, because I am tired of this man, the way that we treat each other. I can't be with him anymore. So I went out. We were still staying at another estate, and when I wanted to go out, there was a GTI that he was using at that time. So I took that car, but when I got into that car, I wanted to go and withdraw money slowly but surely until I had gotten as much as I could and run away back to my country. So we stay in the estate, and from the estate you enter the highway same time, but on the other side of the highway there is another estate as well. So there is a robot on our side and a robot on the other estate side to stop the traffic, as well as a robot on the highway to stop the traffic here and then that of the cars that will be traveling on the highway. So when I got that GTI, when I tried to turn it on, the engine refused to kick on, and I got into another car, and it did not start. I said, what am I going to do? That was when I got into the Ford Mustang. It told me that under no circumstances are you supposed to drive my car, because that car, it belongs to me and it does not belong to us. You can drive other cars that are here, but that car, I don't want you to touch it no matter what. And I used to listen to his instructions. So, Brother Nashi, I got into that car because I just wanted to go and steal the money and run back home. I did not know that the things of rituals, they are things that you can't do and run away from your husband who is a money ritualist. I got into the vehicle, everything was nice. I was even driving it nice because I did not want to scratch it or to do anything with it. And then when I was at the robot, I don't know what happened. When the robot turned green, that was when I just found myself having caused an accident. Instead of turning nicely into the highway so that I can go to the ATM at the mall, I drove straight into the wall of the opposite estate and I blacked out. And when I woke up, my husband, he was calling me. He was telling me that he knew about the accident that I had caused. He was angry at me for driving his car, and he had given me an instruction that I was never supposed to touch his car. I apologized. Even the ambulance guys, they were surprised because I did not even have any kind of damage. And they came, they towed the vehicle. My husband repaired that car, but he was very angry with me because I had failed to listen to him. So from there on, I started to respect him because I knew that even if he is far away, he might be in another country, he can call you and then he can say, Carol, what are you doing? Stop whatever that you are doing. So when I once went to my country, when I went to my country and I was with my mom, when I was with my mom, then one of my cousin came, and then my cousin, when she was not with us, me and my mom, we started to gossip about him. My mother then told me something that broke like my heart. My mom said to me that she had heard that she did not have any food at home, and I said, okay, let me go and buy something for him. So by then, my husband had bought a new car for me, an X-Trail. So I went with her to the supermarket. When we were in the queue, then that was when my husband called me and asked me if I was stupid. I said, why are you saying, am I stupid? He said, are you stupid? What are you trying to do with my money? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? He had told me that I should never, ever help any of my relatives with my money. My money is alone and for me to eat alone, not for me to enjoy with my relatives. I then apologized to him and I said, I'm sorry. And he said, come back to South Africa right now. So I had another South African friend of mine whom I borrowed money. I told her to go to Pick n Pay, and I told her what she was supposed to do when she would have arrived at Pick n Pay, and I told her that I wanted her to send me some money, in which she did. She sent me some money, and then I used that money to buy my cousin the food. When I came back, I paid that girl that I was owing the money. And I used to go on vacations with that friend of mine, and when we would go on vacations, this was before the miscarriages were happening. We were in Mozambique with this South African friend of mine. So she was very spiritual. She will say, Aish, I had a very terrible dream. And I'll be like, what kind of a dream you had? And then she will say to me, I had a dream and I saw that you were in a pool of blood. Have you ever had a miscarriage before? Have you ever removed any pregnancy before? So I will be offended and I'll be like, why are you saying that? I once had a miscarriage. I once had an abortion. I never did such in my life. I will never ever do such. And then she was like, but I saw you were in a pool of blood, and it seemed as if there were kids that were crying there that were unborn, and they were your kids. So, Brother Nashi, I was even offended whenever she would tell me about her dreams that she used to tell me. So we returned back to SA. That was when my husband dropped a bombshell on me. He then told me that he was a ritualist after I had found a coffin in the house. There was a time when he had gone on a vacation. I was bored because I'm not allowed to have friends. I'm not allowed to go home. Whenever I want to return to my country, he can say, no, you are not going. End of story. You stay here. And I stay in a gated community whereby if I go out, even the security, they can tell my husband that your wife went out at such a time. So I'm always at home, and I have cleaners that come and clean. There is a company that comes to clean our house. So I'm always in the bedroom when there are people that come to clean the house, and I can order food, not even eat anything. So when I came from Mozambique from the vacation, he went on his own vacation, and I was busy cleaning the house. I was home alone and I was lonely. And when I feel lonely, I just clean the place. And when I was busy cleaning, there was a bad smell. Ever since we started to stay at that house, there was this other room that he had told me to never open, as well as to never even think about it. So I just said, this room is the one that is smelling, and I touched the door. It was open. I just wanted to open the windows because they are never open at all. They are closed at all the times. When I touched the door, found out that it was not locked. So I entered. When I entered, I saw something that shocked me. There was a coffin that was on top of the bed, but it is a small single bed. So the coffin was on top of that bed, and it was smelling like hell. I walked in there and I went close to the coffin. When I went close to the coffin, Bro Nash, the coffin was open, and I saw that there was a plastic bag that was not even tied that was there. I then took the broom that I was using, and then I opened the broom. I opened the plastic with the broom, and I saw in there was a liver that was still fresh. So I just thought that maybe it was a cow's liver. I then heard my husband talking to me. I was shocked because his voice just came out of nowhere. So it shocked me so much, and I ran outside and my phone started to ring. I gathered the courage, and then I went indoors and I took my phone, and my husband, he asked me if I was stupid or something. Why was I trying to clean his room when he was not around? I apologized, and then he said that he's coming back to South Africa. He came back, he was angry with me, and then he came clean with me, and he said that he's a ritualist, and in order for his businesses to survive very well, he was supposed to do the rituals that he was doing to keep that coffin. And I was shocked. And then he told me that I was going to experience some miscarriages, and I started to understand that dream that my friend used to have, that she would see me in a pool of blood, and she would see my children that were even crying at me as they were in a pool of blood. And I understood that this was what my friend was talking about, something that I was even taking for granted when she was having that kind of a dream. So I understood that this was the man that I had gotten married to, and he told me that this was the reason as to why he did not want me to give my relatives money, because once I give my relatives money, then it meant that he was going to struggle to get businesses. His contracts, they can even be cancelled for no reason at all. But as long as I am not giving any of my relatives money, his contracts, they are always going to be safe. Brother Nashi, I was shocked about it, but still I stayed with him. The only problem that we do have right now is that me and him, we are no longer sexually active with each other. The reason being is that I am no longer menstruating like the way that I used to, and he told me that he's not allowed to be intimate with a woman that is no longer menstruating, and I do not know what is going to happen to me in the future. If it happens that my menstruation stops, I don't see my periods anymore, will he still stay with me? I asked him, and he said that he does not know. He does not have an answer as for now. So I am just waiting for him. He is the one that will tell me if we are still going to be together or we won't be together anymore. And I'm still with him to this very day, even though he came clean to me that he do money rituals and he's a money ritualist. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our DM sister. Let us try to speak with him in the comment section. The things that people will do for money, you won't even believe it. But let us speak with our dear sister in the comment section. I will be back with another episode.